All right, now no. The talk of the town right now is on Teddy Knight in the England game and the advancement in the U20 World Cup arc. But I'd like to take a second to just give some recognition to Kaiser and Bunny, right? Two other New Gen 11 characters that I feel like are kind of a bigger problem than like right now. I'd say Hugo and Teddy Knight. Honestly, I think that chapter 351 in particular were making sure to highlight to us that don't forget about Kaiser and Bunny. And the reason why I'm making a video out of this is because I do feel like it just hasn't been talked about enough about how these two are just the two biggest elephants in the room where it comes to what ifs. We've already seen Kaiser play in the New Eagles League, so we're excited for that. But we've only seen Bunny play against random pro league NPCs, bro. Like I'm trying to see Bunny actually get into some more action. And I think with chapter 351, that's King Shiro kind of hinting at us about like the difficulty level with each of these two players with how their runs are going in the U20 World Cup. And why I feel like this is the case is because the difference between Kaiser's kind of effort in the first game against Costa Rica and then the second game in Korea, although we don't see the actual game itself and what happens in the game, we can see that Kaiser is sweating in contrast to the game against Costa Rica. And again, we do gotta start admitting this thing that sweat scaling is probably gonna be very, 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 very more relevant than it was before. And this just off the fact that this is probably gonna be the only type of line of scaling we can use to what's the word I'm looking for? Discern some characters from other versions of characters. Like we can tell if a character is being pushed back or they're giving more effort just off of their facial expressions and how they are treating the game. Like, for example, with Bunny in his game against, I hope I'm not about to butcher this name, but Quatar. The score is 5-2. Bunny isn't sweating and he's smiling. Now, what we can easily tell from this is clearly his opponents weren't that much of a challenge or they didn't give him much of a challenge, right? And I just think this is probably just the case for most of the groups that Germany and Spain are just one of those two teams with a new Gen 11 and a really good team behind it. But as we know, the focus right now is being with Teddy Knight and England. But I do think that chapter 351 highlighting Group P and Group D, the groups that Spain and Germany are in, it's kind of just leading up to the fact that they undeniably have to beat Germany and Spain to win this U20 World Cup. Now, why I was calling these two the two biggest elephants is that I think that in comparison to everybody else's U20 World Cup run, like Isagi, Ren, Loki, and Hugo, I feel like these two are having by far the best run. And I say that because Loki scored a brace against England, but we have Kaiser scoring a hat trick against what was the team? Yeah, Costa Rica. I almost forgot. Kaiser scores a hat trick against Costa Rica, which I think also is kind of crazy how Kaiser outscored Loki, even though you can always argue that England is a tougher team than Costa Rica, which is perfectly fine. But then we have the game against Japan where he scores a brace again, but in the game against Korea that Germany just played against, they had 4 goals. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's ridiculous to come to the conclusion that Kaiser probably scored all 4 of these goals just off of the fact that he scores a hat trick in Costa Rica, and it does look like that. And it does look like he didn't perspire as much as he did in that game in comparison to this game, where he has more of a frustrated look, and it seems like the win costed him a bit more, and off the fact that Korea did score 1 goal. So at some point, the game was probably 1-1. Or the scoreboard just wasn't just like 3-0 like it was in the Costa Rica game. So it's clear that Kaiser exerted more effort and he just dominated the team. Again, I don't think it's crazy to say Kaiser scored 4 goals here. We've seen cases where characters will just score over 3 goals and, like, it's just a hat trick and more. Like, I guess, right? Because I don't think there's a name for anything with 4 goals or 5 goals. You could call it a penta or a hexa, maybe. I'd say you could probably call it that, but honestly, I'm not sure. I really do feel like I'm just yapping, but I did just want to like just inform you guys that Kaiser and Bunny are coming. It's going to be a problem in the very, very near future, right? I do want to have a video talking about Teddy Knight and the England team, which will be next after this video. But I wanted to wait until chapter 353 was fully out and the officials were out, so I just could have that on the screen. I would love to do spoiler discussions, but I think I would do more of a concrete video just going over everything we know about England, Teddy Knight, and this new Fox character. This is more of a short video that I like. This is more of just a ramble session because I know you guys do need a little bit more content going around, and I promise you, I do have more coming out talking about the more recent events of Blue Lock because I was just talking about Hugo versus Loki, which was a little bit later and was promised to y'all a few weeks ago. But I am cooking, and I do have a few videos about Teddy Knight and a few theories of mine that I want to confirm and speak with you guys about them. But yeah, no, this video was more just a filler one. I do want your thoughts about Kaiser and Bunny and how y'all think those two characters will perform going forward. But I mean, look, if you guys like this type of content, let me know. Subscribe and like, and I will see you guys in the next one, which should be either tomorrow or the next day, which would be Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, maybe. Bro, I had the time of my life this weekend, but I promise you, we're back to the grind again. I know I say this again every video because every single video I want it to be made sure I'm not forgetting that this is something I want to do for an extremely long time. So I'm locked in now. I'm locked in. Promise y'all. Pinky swear. I'm locked in. But hope you guys have a good night, day, or noon, or whatever time it's at, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.